So because the OtterBox was just indestructible, it was middle of class. And seeing a table, I just took it and just started banging it on the table, like the side of it, just right on the edge. And I just did that for 10, 15 seconds. Then all of a sudden, everyone around me just starts turning their heads to look at me. I Then I stopped hitting the phone on the table and I looked at them and I asked them, what? What's going on? It turned out, well, nothing, not a big reveal. But evidently, me banging my phone on the table in the middle of the professor trying to teach was a huge distraction to everyone else around me. Oh well, who knew? Hello, welcome to the Pretty Huge Dilemma podcast. Today, getting right into it, got just back from a winter walk and report it's cold. Spoiler, you'll be hearing this a week after, so it might still be cold then. Probably will be. But for now, day of recording, cold. Got back, was out in the streets, out in the field, seeing what it was like. Cold. Alright. Cold, and it's almost an embarrassingly. Okay, I know I'm not centered, but we got these plants in here. Not going to water them because they're going to have to persevere through this cold weather anyway, and I don't want to spill again. So I know I'm not exactly centered, but that's okay. This is a studio look. Doesn't matter. Just hang out, relaxing, stuff like that. Just got back from the cold, and it's an embarrassingly little amount of ice and snow that just shuts down the entire metroplex. Went out there, so I think it was like sleeting or raining, and then it just froze over, and then a little bit of snow on top of it. But went for a walk. There was barely anything, like just a little bit of like some chemicals on the road. One snowplow coming through, heating, moving things up. Maybe if you're desperate, throwing some sand down, and things just be cleared up back to normal. But because Texas doesn't invest in those things, that's just not happening, and we just have to stay in the entire day. Which, growing up in Iowa, yeah, this little amount, it would be cleared up, things would be going as usual, and I don't know, hopefully you don't hear that. Ashley's trying to sing in the background. Hopefully that stops, or I'm going to have to yell at her to quiet it down because I'm in the studio trying to get this episode recorded, trying to put food on the table, make sure the lights stay on, even though the power might go out at any point, which I don't even know. There are so many different topics I want to talk about the cold, which, yeah, it's a topical thing. It gets the people going. It's what people talk about. I'm surprised I haven't talked to more of my family members, gotten calls from them asking if I'm okay, if I'm going to survive this. Yeah, I'll survive this, and if I don't, then it won't matter to me. There's just a little bit amount going out there walking. I don't bundled up, put on my extra cold gear, extra pants and stuff like that, two pairs of gloves that I've had since high school. And if I didn't get those in Iowa growing up, I don't know if I would have gotten them because you get nicer cold stuff, be prepared for the winter weather. You get multiple winter sweatshirts, multiple long sleeves, cold gear, multiple compression pants, stuff like that. But being in Texas, I don't think you would get those in high school to stay warm. You might get one or two sweatshirts where there would be like your sweatshirts for the year. You might get a winter coat. That's not the best, but you'll get one just because you need a jacket for the week you need it. But in Iowa, we got dozen sweatshirts, dozen long sleeve cold gears, more pants and sweatpants than you probably need, multiple jackets that are proven to make it through an Iowa type winter, bringing those down. So grateful that I can still fit into those and use those because if I didn't, then it might not be worth the investment to get another pair of them just because it's cold here. I can just reuse those, which some of them I've got more use than others. I think some of them, like I even wore for football outside, and it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna throw these away. These are nice, high quality Under Armour type things. I'm gonna keep wearing them in the cold, where instead of going out and playing a football game, I'm just going on a walk when it's cold out. I don't have the shoes for it. Shoes wore running shoes that had like the extra traction on the bottom, which those probably be improved, but for now, that's okay. I think the most important piece that's needed when going on those walks is some sort of face mask or face covering, ski mask type things. Because if you don't have it, then you're trying to then you're walking with your head down, trying to use your jacket to cover up your face and breathing in that way. But with some sort of ski mask or something covering the lower part of your face, you can walk with your head up and like still look around and stuff like that. Didn't wear a pair of ski goggles with it. Again, it's not that cold, but I was never much of a ski person. By much of a ski person, that means I never went skiing. Didn't ski, didn't snowboard. Just wasn't for me. Never got the cool pin on my jacket that said, "Oh, this is from skiing this weekend. Oh, let me see how many I can collect." Never had that. There was maybe one time I was going to go, but I really don't even remember that because I think my youth group went, but for whatever reason I didn't. That's okay. I wasn't too distraught by that because just going once, you have to go through the training. You have to be with all these little kids to learn how to turn your skis inward. I think it's called pizzing. I don't think pizza is a verb, but it's where you move them inwards and I think you slow down. That's pretty much all I know from it. But you would go through training with a bunch of little kids and then you would ski for like maybe half the time on the easiest slopes. Then the next time, oh, you wouldn't have to go through that, it'd be easier. But if I'm just doing it once, not worth it to go through and do that. And I think I might have gotten to the point where I'm past going out and skiing for the first time because multiple injuries, not as pliable, durable when I was younger. If I fall, it'd be a lot more dangerous. Maybe make some people wince. If you're little and you fall, it'd be like, oh, you fell, got up, ha ha ha, so funny. But older, it'd be like, how long is the recovery? What's the physical therapy schedule to recover and get back on schedule? So I might be past the first time doing that and just not doing the skiing route, which fine with that. I think I probably prefer skiing over snowboarding, going face first instead of turn to the sideways. Part of that because didn't skateboard either. Didn't skateboard, didn't rollerblade or skate. Blade is when they're all aligned, I think, and blade is when they aren't. Because the last time I tried roller skating, it was on a date with someone. They had a putt putt course and a roller skating rink. So we did the putt putt thing. I don't know, it was pretty bad. They kind of just like threw it together outside, not very well kept. The roller skating was more what they offered, but I didn't know that. It was a new area. First time meeting this chick. And I was like, whatever, well, let's do this somewhat competitive. I don't know, not that good at it either. I don't even know if we kept score. But I put the rollerblades on. I was like, this isn't gonna go well. So she went around roller skated a couple times in the rink, and I didn't even get inside of the rink. All I did, I put the skates on. I was like, yep, I'm not going anywhere. I didn't figure out how to turn my feet the right way to push off and get going that way. I just kind of did the thing where you like move your feet back and forth, grabbing onto the railing as tight as I can because I'm not going anywhere. I'm not falling down. That would be embarrassing. I'm gonna get a second date if that happened. Wouldn't be able to live down the shame of just falling on rollerblades. So didn't do that either. So I think all those type of events, any events that are in the X Games, I don't think I've done. Well, I've done biking, but not BMX trick biking, just regular biking, I guess, not mountain biking, nothing crazy like that. Just regular biking. But any other things that go on the X Games? Nope, not for me. I haven't participated, and at this point, I don't think I'm going to because worth it, that rush of it. I got enough rush doing other regular things. which I don't even know if I need that rush. If I need my heart rate going up that high, might not stay out of it. Before the cold, obviously had to turn on the news. The newscasters, this is their prime time. This is when they know people are going to be tuning in. They got to be dressing their best. They got to have all their talking points lined up. Everyone who they're going to cut to in different areas of DFW has to be on time for everything. Because again, this is when people are tuning in. There was, I don't know, their chart, their ratings. This has to be like one of the highest rating days that they have for it. Anytime there's a big storm coming through and people are locked inside and need these updates, that's how they're going to get it. Because they got people all throughout in just random areas. One lady, I think her job today is just hanging out at a Buc-ee's. She's like, "Oh, I'm here at Buc-ee's, checking, just talking to people. Anyone who comes in, she's putting a microphone in their face. She's asking them to come on camera. And that's just her job for today, getting what the streets are like, get people's perspectives, what streets are clean, which ones aren't, why people are out. They feeding their cows. One person said he just wanted to get out of the house because he had 3 kids, which understandable that he just wanted to get out, have some free time to himself. So he's like, I'll risk my life just to go out into the storm and get some fresh air by myself. So that's understandable. I think newscasters and these news stations, they just need to join the neighborhood group chats that each of the places have. The couple that I'm in, instantly, right away. That was a bad snap. My hands are still kind of cold. Right away when power's going out, when Wi-Fi is going down, if there's a water issue, traffic, bad roads, anything like that. There's a thread of, oh, these are all the stores that are open today. If you want to go out and support them, like maybe they shouldn't be. If you have to announce your opening, maybe you shouldn't be open at all to begin with. Maybe that's an idea. But if they joined the different, if the news places joined the different neighborhood chats, they would get all these news things instantly and get all the information. There was a power outage yesterday, and so I don't know. I don't think my house lost power, but it was like a little bit for me. I didn't even know that news channel isn't reporting on that. Again, they could do that and would be pretty easy to get all the news and power outages. But they're not doing that. Again, this is such a small amount of ice and snow that's just shutting everything down. Places are canceling school on Monday already because, oh, it's cold out there. Don't want these kids driving. Well, put something on the road to make it easier to drive. And yeah, then your problem would be solved and you wouldn't have to shut all these places down because it's barely anything. My walk, I had to walk slowly, but that's just because of the ice and people aren't putting salt out. I don't think I have a snow shovel or an ice blade thing to pick at it with. If I need it cleared out from somewhere, just kicking it over with my foot. All right, well, that's pretty much just what's going on with the weather. So that's your weather update a week late. So for those who didn't know about this weather that's happening, you're welcome. And hey, it's better late than never for it. The things that are going on here. Let's see here. In the last episode, I mentioned going to the Sam Talent show, discussed that, took a picture with him. Nice, skinny. I'm not going to say off putting, but it was surprising to see that in person. Good for him, good for his health. Let's see here. We went to the Matt McCusker show, saw him, saw Sean Guard Dog Gardini there as well. Man, he acts exactly the same on stage as he does as producing their podcast. It's just same monotone voice, not much movement up there, talking about stomach issues, which, yes, it's kind of surprising how the same that is. It's not, did I just say it was surprising? Not surprising. It's like, oh, acting the exact same on podcast as does in person. Crazy. Who could have guessed that? That was pretty cool to see that. On theaters, I don't know, I'm surprised the comedians don't, well, maybe not all the comedians, but at least Matt and Sean. I'm surprised how little they didn't like go throughout the stage in the theater. Where if I was on a theater stage, I don't know, I might not use the entire stage, but at least pace back and forth, not being too much in one place. Where I know being in the clubs, it's a smaller stage and there's not as much room to walk around. Being in theater, maybe cool to use it more and walk around. But then again, they're the professionals. I'm not. I see this big stage and it's like, you could walk around so much, not just be in one place for it. Anyway, those are my not even 2 cents. That's 0 cents because that doesn't really mean or do anything. It's their show; they can do what they want. They're the ones performing in theaters, not me. The only thing I'm starting to get the K, the thousands. Yeah, I'll probably say it that way. I'm getting into the thousands on some of my posts, which that's a first. The posts are getting into the thousands, kind of surprising. Maybe not the particular ones that I want getting up that high, but it was cool to see that before. Just was got a couple in the hundreds, like a couple hundreds, 200s, I think. I don't know what they were before. And again, I'm counting all views as equals because you can't say, oh, 1,000 people watched the entire thing or 1,000 people watched the first second. Doesn't matter to me. Thousands, 1,000. Well, on the YouTube, which one do I want to start with? I'll start with the not chronologically because who cares? This isn't a chronological podcast. Start the one on X. X just quote tweeted Backyard Sports account. There's a live series that's coming out on YouTube. And I said, oh, coming out on YouTube, this might make me figure out how to go live and do a live stream watch along. Somehow that got 1,000 views, more likes than I've gotten on a tweet, retweet on it by Backyard Sports, I think, and a reply by them. I was like, all I said was I might do a watch along for this, and it's an account that has 3 followers. Like, why is there so much interaction on this? So then that led me down the path of, okay, let me figure out how to actually live stream, what the process I gotta go through, which I figured out you kind of have to apply to live stream 24 hours in advance. So maybe by now that's gotten approved. YouTube has to do their checks, I guess, make sure you're a real channel, real person. You're not just letting anyone go live, which probably good for their streaming platform. Go in there and figured out, oh, I probably shouldn't show the entire series, the audio and the visual of it, because then I'll get taken down. I'll also have to put a link up there saying, this is the link we're watching, then periodically say what timestamp I'm at for it. That I've noticed is probably the easiest way to do it, best way. Yeah, makes sense. Because if you were doing it with just your group of friends, they have like watch along parties you can have, which is probably started up in COVID where you can send links to people and you will be on the same timestamp, same audio, all happening at the same time, not too many delays, which would have been helpful when Ashley and I started dating and we had to be separated for whatever reasons there were. Separated physically, not still in a relationship, because we didn't have the relationship where we were together, broken up, which might have made it more exciting, more ups and downs, more stories to tell about it. But we didn't have that. When we were separated physically, it's like, well, I want to watch this movie. It's like, oh, like, wish I could watch it with you. We just kind of had to sync up, hitting play at the same time. Might have been easier if we used whatever services is that you can have just a watch party together and everything will be aligned that way. We didn't figure that out yet. We made it through though, and it wouldn't necessarily matter because by the end of the either the TV series we were watching, that episode, or the movie we were watching, Ashley would just be asleep anyway, and I would just be there watching it. Kind of similar to what happens today. Of I'll put a movie on. By the end of it, I'm awake. She's asleep. Happens. I gotta figure out how to live stream. So I think I'll do that watch along when it's gonna be. I think it'll probably be Saturday. The time to do it, I think sometime in the evening, 5 p.m. Central. That's probably a good time to have it because I think it's being released on the 30th. I'll do what, or is it being released today? I'll have to double check what those dates are. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it came out yesterday and live stream's happening today. No, I wouldn't do it today because you gotta have some announcements, some preparation for it. I gotta make some graphics for it. I gotta go into the clip art and get some stuff on there. Have a big live thing in red going. Some sort of talking points, maybe some movie snacks. Just kidding. I'll probably skip out on the movie snacks. If I was, I would get the chocolate covered cookie dough bites. Said that at the beginning of this podcast, not this episode podcast, but in previous episodes, get those. But I don't think you want to necessarily hear me eating on stream. Not very good. I'm a loud eater, I would say. I don't know. I eat with my mouth open, not too concerned about it. But also part of that is if I'm just eating at my kitchen counter with my headphones in, watching a show, I don't really care how loud I'm eating. Ashley will tell me, "Oh, I'm eating too loud. Eat with my mouth closed." I mean, by myself at the kitchen counter with my headphones in. I can't hear myself, and I'm not really trying to impress anyone. So I don't care too much about that, which happens for it. With that live stream going, do a watch along, see how many people are in it. Hopefully my microphone works the entire time, because for I think the last PhD TV that I released, microphone didn't work at the end of it. Might have been working my computer too hard, too much going on in it, and it didn't work for it. Which right now, I see the microphone button lit up on this, so I assume that it's working. I don't know if it is. Okay. Live stream. Yeah, and then that might lead me to live streaming other things. Maybe I'll live stream me playing the basketball games for it, because the times I release those early in the mornings, I don't know if that's the best time, but it works for me. Able to schedule things out easier, which it takes a little bit of upfront time, but in the end it saves me a little bit of time because I'm not thinking, oh, I have to do something every single day and upload this like early, like before working out, after working out, before work. It's just all there, gets sent when it gets sent for it. But me talking about eating with my mouth open and not caring when I'm by myself, maybe I'll have to clip that out, because the other video that got 1,000+ views, which that's big milestone for me, haven't gotten that, and got number of comments from people I don't know, is when I'm sharing traits about me that are maybe not the most likable. So I put the clip out of me saying I don't like being shush, not respectful, and got a couple comments back saying that that's childish. People do it to quiet you quickly when they don't have time to say a full sentence. That was not people's favorites, but hey, I got how many? I don't know. Handful of likes on it, comments on it. And right now, the replies I'm sending, I don't know if they particularly sound sarcastic to the people. I'm not necessarily trying to be sarcastic. I usually say, thanks for the comment. Check out the whole episode. That's usually about what I say. Nothing too personal to them. Nothing too, oh, that's so funny. Ha ha ha. I don't try to be that sarcastic yet, because we're still trying to grow this thing, maybe to a certain point. But right now, it's like, thanks for the comment. I don't know what to tell you. Check out the full episode. But that might lead me to, I put this out as a clip. So, hey, make sure you're watching all these clips, because a lot of stuff's happening. A lot of stuff's being put out for content, trying to get some views up, trying to get some monetization on YouTube, Instagram, X, stuff like that. I think it's raining, some sleet, or is that hail? I can't tell. You gotta keep all the blinds closed. That way we keep the heat in and the cold out, because that's how it works around here. That sounds like hail. Well, that's not the best for it. But so I might start sharing more things that are unlikable about me. So I'm crowdsourcing that. Friends, family, hey, what's the most unlikable thing about me? What trait? What thing have I done in the past where just put the most unlikable things about me, which, it might be unlikable. Do I care too much? I don't know, random people on the internet for it. Okay, but what I have so far for unlikable is, in school, pretty big distraction. Almost the entire way through school, I was constantly distracting people. I would get in trouble a lot. I would get referrals, detentions, just for talking in class. Which way our school did it, you would get a referral if you did. You get a referral if you did something bad, and if you get three referrals in a certain period of time, like three referrals in a quarter, you would get a detention. But then for some reason, when I was in eighth grade, they switched it. They switched the punishments and they said, we're done doing referrals now. Instead, you just go straight to getting an after school detention. Like, you're just changing the rules in the middle of this, in the middle of me going to school here. Like, you gotta wait till the end of that. Because I would get a handful of referrals. I would get them on Friday, hide them in my backpack, and then give them to my parents on Sunday evening saying, oh, I got this referral for talking too much. Can you sign this so that I can give it back to my teacher and let him know? Obviously, you're not getting it signed on Friday when you got a weekend's worth of activities to do. I want to go out to the pool. I want to hang out with my friends. I want to do the sporting stuff. I'm going to go do whatever. I'm not going to tell you I got in trouble for talking too much. And again, that leads to probably led to me not liking being shushed because talking way too much and getting in trouble for that. So I wouldn't get attention until they got rid of the referrals for whatever reason. Then the teacher would pass around this, was it not attitude book, but some book that each teacher would fill out if a kid was acting up or not. And it would be if you got so many marks in that book, you would get a detention. So each teacher is kind of like tattletaling on me to each of the other teachers. Because if I was in trouble in one class, I would think, okay, that's an isolated event. That's just that class. Next class, slate's wiped clean. Let's see how this one goes. But nope. It's, oh, this carryover from being in trouble in this class is carried over here, and you're in trouble again. Detention. I don't know. It wasn't that big of a deal. Was it? Maybe it was. Maybe I'm misremembering things. But I would get, I think I only got two detentions that I can remember. And for those, I think it was around the winter time. Yeah, it was probably winter time because I remember going from there to basketball practice and then my coach saying to me, "Hey, let's try to get so many detentions because it's cutting into our practice here." And for detentions, they were so dumb. I would sit there, do nothing. It wasn't detentions, go do this work, detentions. You're forced to do this homework. It was sit there, think about what you've done. That's not changing anything. How is that going to cause someone to change? They're sitting there so much like, man, I really just got to turn in my homework more. I got to quit talking. I got to make sure my parents sign this thing. No. Maybe if it was sit there, write a journal thing, write about why I'm in the situation, what I can do next time to not be in the situation, and then submit that to the person at the end of it. Maybe that would be helpful. But just sitting there, I got a bunch of other things I can think about other than what led me to this situation. And some of the time, I would just be sitting there by myself. The person who was on detention duty, like the supervisor, teacher, librarian, would just be gone doing other things. There wouldn't be any other students there, it'd just be me. So great, you wasted an hour of my time and your time. Congrats. Back then, time wasn't as valuable to me, wasn't getting paid as much per hour as I am now. But now, if I do that, waste of a lot of people's times, which I guess I do get that time wasted when I'm on hold with other companies. So maybe that's why people get so upset about it. So I would get in trouble for that. Elementary school, middle school, not the best relationships with all the teachers as a result of it. It happens. High school, I don't know, that was easier. That was, I don't know, public school. They let more things go there, not as high of standards. Cell phones weren't as big in school, so I wouldn't, but yeah, they weren't as big in school, so it was easier for teachers to like not expect students to be on them. Where today, I don't know what the rules are. Who knows? Don't have a kid, and if I did, they don't have wouldn't have a cell phone now either. I don't think that works. Don't have a kid. I don't know what the rules are. But then, back then, it wasn't like an overarching policy of, oh, this is what it is. This is a standard everywhere. It's kind of, oh, yeah, we know some kids have phones, some don't. Try not to have, try not to be on them during class. But sometimes I would get on them if I finished test early, bored, obviously leaning back with the book, phone in the book, hiding it, texting people, playing games, Snapchatting, all that stuff. Which I think wasn't until my junior year I didn't have a front facing camera on my phone. I only had the back facing camera on my phone. And I also had the one where you could slide it up and it would be a keyboard. It's like, I want this. I don't like texting from the touch screen as much. And it was a decent size phone. It was like the similar size as an iPhone, just with the keyboard you slide up. That was pretty cool. But since I didn't have a front facing camera, what I would have to do is flip it around and take it with the back facing one. So there were a lot of retakes of photos there because it's hard to just blindly get me in the frame correctly, which thankfully Snapchat, not that big a deal being centered frame. Similar podcasts, you can just be wherever. Snapchat, half your face on it. That's just being artistic. So I'd do that, and yeah, eventually, I think at first I was a Samsung guy. I forget what phone it was, but then college switched to an iPhone. I'd flip around the phone, have to take it with like the back camera, which, yeah, not the easiest to do, but that's called perseverance. I had to learn it. So, filler word, I noticed even the newscasters, even they still say. Thought to myself, I thought professional newscasters in this big DFW area would get rid of those filler words and be better at talk. Well, I guess they're talking like normal people. I thought they would be more, not more professional, but better spoken. It's a difficult job. Maybe that's expecting too much of them. They still said in there. So maybe I'll keep that around in here as well. But anyway, back to unlikable trait. So his background, bad at school. Well, not bad at school. Acted up occasionally. Occasionally. Talked too much. Referrals, attentions, whatever. High school, not as big of an issue. Then in college, there's one instance I can remember that I was a huge distraction to everyone else around me. See, what phone did I have? I think I had the iPhone. Which one was it? It was where you had the thumbprint and it would unlock that way. Okay, so I had that one because I remember that because I don't know, I still had up until recently as a backup in case mine broke down. In case my new iPhone I have now broke down, I would go back to the iPhone 6 or 7. Yeah, I'll go back there. I wouldn't just buy a new one. I don't know what I was thinking. I wouldn't do that. I would just buy a new one. But I had a case on it. I had an OtterBox, which at first when OtterBox started, it was these bigger, thicker cases. You go through anything, you could throw it. It had extra padding around the corners of it because it would have like the softer, cushy stuff, cushion pad on it, and then it would have this hard plastic on the other side of it. So one day in thermodynamics 2, taking it really wasn't learning too much. Honestly, in thermodynamics 2 versus 1, I don't really know what the difference was. It was pretty much just doing, not even slightly harder, it's pretty much doing the same questions on the exams. I don't really even understood what it was or what the difference was. Maybe it's because maybe because of this story. So I really wasn't paying attention. So because the OtterBox was just indestructible, it was middle of class. And seeing a table, I just took it and just started banging it on the table, like the side of it, just right on the edge. And I just did that for 10, 15 seconds. Then all of a sudden, everyone around me just starts turning their heads to look at me. I Then I stopped hitting the phone on the table and I looked at them and I asked them, What's going on? It turned out, well, nothing, not a big reveal. But evidently, me banging my phone on the table in the middle of the professor trying to teach was a huge distraction to everyone else around me. Oh well, who knew? Yeah, I wouldn't say school was the easiest for me. And obviously, looking back on it, you'd say, oh, that was easy, that wasn't easy. Again, like, it was hard. I was just good at it. I was able to get a 4.13, or was it 4.14 GPA at Iowa, which, yeah, I don't think there's many people who could say they got above 4.0 in college, which, yeah, Iowa does it a stupid way. I don't know if it's still going this way. What Iowa did was their grading system. So an A, you get 4.0. An A minus, I don't know what you get. You get, I got one A minus, and a B plus, I don't know what that is. If I don't know if I forget what it is now, or if well, I mean, could I guess what it is? I think it's, I don't know now, because I think at one point I knew. So if an A was a 4, a B was a 3, a B plus would be a 3.33, an A minus would be a 3.67. I think that makes sense. Okay, I don't know, not 100% certain, kind of forget, been a little bit of time. So anyway, we'd have, that would be the scale for that. But for some dumb reason, they had, if you got an A plus, that would be weighted 4.33. I don't know why that's the case. Their grading GPA scale would be out of 4.0. It wouldn't be out of 4.33, which that just adds confusion for everyone. Every internship interview, well, pretty much every internship interview, some job interviews, one of the first questions I would get is, how do you get above a 4.0 GPA? Well, Iowa is a little special in that way. I don't know if they changed it by now, or if they did something else where they made an announcement, hey, we have this A plus rating, which that kind of throws things off. Because if I put my GPA into some online application and say the scale, and and on the application it says the scale is out of 4. Okay, well I got 4.14. Then I get an error. It can't be above a 4. Well, then I have to put in 4.0. Or I would have to go in and calculate what my own GPA is. I'd have to go into a GPA calculator, say I've gotten this many A pluses, this many A's, one A minus, one B plus. I think those were in spring my senior years. No, two A minuses. Because I think I got an A minus in the rhetoric English class I took. That was the first semester, freshman year. But anyway, the other two, the A minus and B plus, I think that was the spring of my senior year. So anyway, I would have to go into the online calculator and figure out what my GPA would be if it was out of 4.0 scale. So I had to do that. But then that was because my GPA was above 4.0. But other people who never went above a 4.0, they would just benefit from the A pluses being higher, because they would be at a 398 or a 3.9 because of the A plus scale. But if that wasn't there, then they would be down a couple points as a result of that. I don't know if I'm explaining the best. I'm pretty much just talking about how unlikable I am and how good I was at school. So I don't know how many views or interactions this will get on YouTube, but we'll see. Maybe I wouldn't say this is clickbaiting, but I'm just riding the trend of people think I'm unlikable. Well, here's another reason I'm unlikable, because I'm bragging about what my grades were in college. Not even bragging, I'm just stating this is what they were. And I don't know, maybe I'm being too critical of Iowa again, because I went through not pretty much, I went through a couple Iowa sports and like, these coaches need to figure it out. They need to get fired. Then making and posting clips, I laughed at myself because I saw it and I knew at the moment, but I was wearing a Florida Gators long sleeve shirt, and I'm waiting for someone. Maybe that's clickbaiting, because I'm waiting for someone to comment, "You're wearing a Florida Gator shirt. Don't talk about the Iowa football coaching." Yeah. Then I was comment, "Listen to all the episodes, and you'll see why." But yeah, that works for it. That's probably near the end of the podcast. I think me explaining the how GPAs work at University of Iowa, that's a little specific, a little niche of an area. Maybe it doesn't apply to everyone, but that's something that I've thought about, and it's a dilemma that I've had to deal with in my life. And at the University in Florida in grad school, no one cares what your GPA is. I don't remember what grades I got because that part doesn't really matter. Just the fact of getting it, that's getting the PhD. Because yeah, you have to take classes, and yeah, they want to measure your results in some way. Because if you're doing bad, failing those classes, like maybe you shouldn't be in it. Maybe the classes should just be a pass fail criteria where the pass isn't a C, but where the pass is like a B for it. There's an idea. So grad schools have it be pass fails, but instead of like a C being the pass fail or not an F being a pass fail, it's having a higher criteria for it. Which, okay, so I was talking about my GPA and pass fails. I remember this. For some reason, Iowa, you had option to take classes pass fails. So what I ended up doing, and you can decide what classes. A lot of people, if it was harder class, there's some classes you could take pass fail, like electives, things like that. If it was like core engineering classes, you couldn't take those pass fails, like those affected your GPA. But what I ended up having to do, not having to do, but got to do, is I would take these electives pass fail, and other people wouldn't take them pass fail because they would say to themselves, "Oh, I need this A to like help out my GPA." And because my GPA was above 4.0, I had to think to myself, am I going to get an A plus in this class? What's the likelihood of that? Not that likely? Well, then I'm going to take this pass fail because if I got an A, that would hurt my GPA. And I ended up having to go to one of the professors and saying, hey, I'm not going to study for this final. I'm not going to take it. If I got a 0 on this final, I'll get a C, and that's a pass. Is that cool? She was like, yeah, that makes sense. You're taking this pass fail. That's fine. So I got a 0 on that final. I'm trying to remember. I think I told that story. I don't know. Who knows? You're welcome for hearing it again. But that was kind of, I don't know, cool thing about it is bragging thing of, oh, I can't afford to get an A because I'll bring down my GPA. Yeah, it's weird. Obviously, I still put above a 4.0 on my resume and say it's out of 4. So if I didn't, because you can't say it's out of 4.33 because that's just unattainable. 4.14 out of 4.33, that sounds so much worse than having to go through and figure it out. Which, if it was out of 4.0 scale, my GPA is still pretty high. I don't want to go through and do that. I've had to do that a couple times, but forget what it is. And I think that's where on this podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, follow, tune into the live stream happening next week. Hopefully, probably, maybe. And we'll get some more content out there, clips, comment, like, subscribe, all of that. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you guys later.